This all started when I was 14 years old. I was with some friends, Dave and Trevor. We all were having a sleepover at Dave's house. For some reason, my friend Dave wanted to go to a trail near his house. The trail extended for about 10 plus miles, so it was pretty long. I don't know how Dave managed for us to go, but it was 12 o'clock at night. I know, a couple of troublemakers. We easily sneaked past his parents and left. It was only like 5-minute walk to the trail, since we live in a rural area. Anyways, it was super creepy just looking down the trail. All you could see was long, tall trees, and nothing but emptiness down the trail. You couldn't see any light until you reached the checkpoint, where there would be some street lights. I just whispered and said, "I don't know, should we go in?" My friend Dave just laughed and started walking. Me and Trevor had no other choice, but we followed. As we walked in further, you could feel something was watching us. You know when you get paranoid and start looking around, but it's too dark to focus? That's exactly what I was feeling. Me and Trevor. It was kind of hard to try to keep up with Dave. He just walked faster and faster. Then he began to run down the trail. I yelled at him, but he ignored my call and kept going. Trevor and I tried to catch up to him, but Dave disappeared into the side of the woods. Trevor whispered, "Dude, why did he do that? It's not funny." It wasn't funny, I thought. Trevor and I knew Dave was trying to scare us, so we stood close to each other just in case he jumped in front of us. I had my phone flashlight on and was scared to death walking in. I was a teenager at the time, so I wasn't this big macho guy, even if it was just us. Suddenly, we hear some branches being stepped on behind us. "Hey Dave, stop that. It ain't funny." But again, we hear leaves crunch in the distance. I shine my flashlight toward the location of the leaves. Then all we hear is Dave scream from the direction we're walking towards. Trevor and I were confused. Out of nowhere, we see Dave run towards us and said, "Run." We didn't hesitate and tried to run back home, but instead we ran in some bushes on the side of the trail. All three of us hid, and I was trying to get an answer from Dave, but he was in shock. As we hid, I heard some steps walking down the trail. It sounded like two people walking around, but I noticed that one of them had a machete in his hand. I can see why Dave was terrified. Usually I will panic, but I told Dave and Trevor to be extra quiet and to follow my lead. So I picked up a stick and threw it hard as I could. I threw it in the opposite direction so they would get distracted. As soon as I did throw it, the two men started to go where the stick landed. I waited until they got far. That's when we booked it and started to sprint towards home. We ran as fast as we could. All three of us felt like throwing up. But as soon as we did get home, we looked behind us to make sure there was nobody there. And thank God there wasn't. As soon as we went inside, we locked the door. We stayed up for another hour or so just to make sure. We all agreed that we would never do that again. One late night I was feeling stressed about something and wanted to take a walk through my backwoods. I usually take my dog Biscuit, but this time I let him stay at the house. I grabbed some mosquito repellent and a sweater just in case it got chilly. I also grabbed my phone and a flashlight just in case. Now my backwoods runs pretty deep and it stretches for miles until you get to another house. Anyways, I walked and had set in about 10 minutes. Now, usually it would be pretty creepy walking in by yourself, but I do it so much that I became accustomed to all the little noises, like the night creatures. I always flash my light around and try to see if I can spot some raccoons or little animals lurking about. I did see a particular raccoon though. It was a small, fuzzy raccoon, so I tried to follow it. It just kept going and going. It did seem like it tried to show me something though. Now I should tell you that getting back home is easy, because I made a long path with paint on the trees to keep me in between so I won't get lost. But this little raccoon ran past to the sides and will occasionally stop to see if I will follow. It was kind of cute, to be honest, and like the gullible person I am, I kept on walking. Suddenly the raccoon went up the tree and hid away. I walked up to the tree to take a good picture. The raccoon just kept moving. But once I leaned on the tree, I felt something sticky and wet in my arms. I flashed my light on to see, and I just stood there. There was blood all over me, and I looked at the tree and there was chunks of flesh on it. I wanted to puke because of how gruesome it looked. I looked around to see if there was more, but I kept quiet and I could hear something. It sounded like a low-pitched hum. What the heck? I whispered. What is that? I flashed my light around to see where it came from, but nothing. I decided it was best to go, and I tried to go back on my path I made. But I didn't realize how far I got in. But then I heard it again. I had goosebumps and started to run. I got on an edge and I could see it was a path. I followed it all the way back home. I went back inside and hugged Biscuit, who was right next to the door waiting for me. I was so scared that I couldn't sleep. Every so often I would look into the woods just in case something followed me. But eventually I passed out. The next morning I woke up and called one of my friends to investigate it. We both went into the woods in broad daylight, and I tried to go in the same direction I did the night before. I couldn't find that tree with the blood, and I had no idea what made that noise. But it seemed like it tried to do something to me. Hopefully, I can move past this and hope it never happens again.